Can you see me?
Great. That looks good. Yes.
Great. How are
That's
you?
right. Right. I'm not sure if my connection is the best. Maybe let me check if I go through my phone. Maybe that's better because the whole family is
They all use the internet. Yeah, it's a little bit disrupted.
online. Wait a second. I'm still here. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think it should work. Yeah. Well, I'm fine. It's so strange these days, right? You always ask people, "How are you?" and nobody really knows what to answer.
Actually, I don't know. I find people are a little bit better than you would expect. It's a little bit, I don't know. Maybe not such a good sign.
Yeah, I think that the good weather helps for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, it also depends on the personal situation. How much you were hit on the
Yeah.
wrong
Economic.
foot.
Yeah. What about you?
I mean, it has different layers. Like how to say different layers. I mean, it hurts quite a lot to not be able to play and to travel. Which was the center of my life, kind of, the passion and everything, meeting people, playing, traveling. I mean, it's, how to say, especially realizing that this will last maybe for the rest of the year. So this is something that really hurts and feels very strange. The situation right now, how to say, I mean, still it feels like a long weekend.
Yeah.
And it's more like I enjoy to have so much time at home to produce, to compose, to hang with my boy. Homeschooling is fun, these kind of things. So that's quite nice. I have this other layer, the X Jazz Festival. I mean, that's a big disaster.
The what? What again? The what?
I'm doing this big festival, X Jazz.
Uh-huh.
And we had to cancel the festival in Berlin, but also the festivals in Sweden, in Iceland, in Russia. So we canceled something like 150 concerts, and also the financial damage is huge. But it's, it's kind of virtual because the numbers are so high that it's not, you don't really feel it in your daily life. It's more
Yeah.
like,
Too bad to be bad, right?
Exactly. It's a company, it's a limited company, but it's a very difficult situation because we have people who work for us, and usually we pay the whole setup with the ticket income, which is not happening, so that's quite difficult, so we are really fighting to survive and find a way to, yeah. So, it's all kind of layers.
Mm. And how do you spend the days? Really, like do you have time to write or work on music, or you just, yeah?
Actually, I have a lot of, I mean, I have a very disciplined and very productive schedule somehow. I don't know when I had so much time to practice, when I was practicing so accurate, so many hours. And also I already finished 2, 3 new songs,
Wow.
including video, and recording and everything. I'm very lucky that I have a quite good studio setup at home. I have my grand piano, I have microphone, so I can really produce.
Can you show it to me a little bit, or you're?
Yeah, of course. So actually, this is my music room. The
Oh,
piano
okay.
with
Nice.
some equipment here. So, and
Nice.
I was in the process of working on the one hand side on my solo project.
Mm-hmm.
I was always too busy to finish it. Now I have no excuse. And also I was working on this big orchestra project, which is a little bit on ice now because now it's supposed to be high season right now. Like March, April, this is where you have the big concerts, and I had some projects which were financially very, how to say, I would have been able to make a lot of money this month, and I wanted to use all that money actually to finance my new album, which would have been recorded in London with orchestra, conductor, all that kind of stuff. So this is kind of on ice now, of course. But on the
Were you
other hand,
supposed to record it? You already had a.
Yeah, I'm not totally finished with the arrangements, but I have the conductor, I have the orchestra set up. It's supposed. I wanted to record it at Abbey Road with BBC orchestra musicians and one of the best conductors for that kind of music. So the setup was ready. I wanted to do it in summer,
Mm.
and I'm I would say like 70% of the music is already composed. So I want to compose the rest. So it's now a little bit, unclear for many reasons, but at least now is the time to compose. That's, and I mean, you're an artist as well, like you're a writer. I mean, this is a very, of course, a scary and bad situation, but also quite, it's very inspiring.
Yeah.
You have so
Yeah.
many, I did the whole situation, the vibe, the kind of like strange mood,
Yeah.
also this kind of, on the one hand side, it's scary. On the other hand side, it's kind of like very peaceful
Yeah.
when you go outside. People
And
are
exciting.
polite.
Yeah, and exciting. You feel like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
also I finished like less than 2 months ago. I finished a project we were working on for the last 5 years, and we had our premiere. And now we were supposed to, come to Berlin, and it's just, in a second it stopped. But actually, it was such a, it was such an immediate and shocking stop that I can't even say that I'm, and it happened to everybody. It's not like only you. So I feel like,
yeah.
it's okay. It's like I accepted it immediately. I didn't even
I
grieved.
mean, it's the same with the festival. I mean, this year was really, we had the funding, we had the festival in 5 countries. That was the first year, where I was like, okay, now full power. And the stop was so extreme that we are not even shocked.
Yeah.
I'm not even shocked. I'm just like, okay, that's the new situation. Where are we?
Yeah, exactly. Because most of the time you do something, and if it's not you, it's someone else, and it's always a competition, and you feel like someone is somewhere and you're not. But this situation is like, okay, you're looking around, everyone are like you, so you have
Yeah.
you have no choice. You just lay back.
On the other hand side, I mean, it gives us really this. I mean, I never had a chance to take a breath, and really think about the things that I'm doing because I'm so busy with traveling and projects and here and there, But now having this possibility of really sit back and evaluate the project that you have done, the project that you are in, the project that you want to do. I mean, have this like forced sabbatical. I find it extremely constructive. I already like fixed so many things in my, like so many things are reorganized already.
Mm-hmm.
And also in the team, I mean, on a sudden we are so much more productive than before and so much more focused and so much more on the point also with my music. I mean, now, I have the time to really, you know, focus for a really long period on my own music and on the setup and all these details.
I
It's
went through
it's
your
like it has.
website yesterday and YouTube's, and I googled you a little bit. So when we met last week, I didn't really know who you were, and now so I was surprised. Like, you play piano as well. I understand that you like. The impression I got is that you are more a composer than just a player.
Yeah, it's all together. You
Yeah.
know, yeah.
So
It's all,
maybe can you tell a little bit about the new album, the new project? What are you working on?
I mean, it's two things. On the one hand side, I'm carrying this solo project since almost 1.5 years. I already started playing it, but I never had the time basically to finish it, to mix it,
Mm.
to do these last 15%. Now I'm finishing one song after the other, so this will be finished and I just have to rethink a setup, when to release, how to release. On the other hand side, I compose a lot of solo piano pieces these days. I also write them on sheet music, just how to say, they just come and I play them, I compose them, I write them down. And then there's this orchestra projects, so it's like, again, like three very different projects. That's always my challenge. I play two instruments. I like classical music. I'm a kind of like educated jazz musician. I also like electronic music. So I kind of like find a way, a language that kind of like, how to say, that everything is one. and it works more and more, like more and more I see myself rather as a composer, and then how to say, I play the song solo, but I also play it with the orchestra, so I try to, kind of like find my own language.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, and this situation right now helps me a lot with that.
Nice. Yeah, a lot of people, I'm getting the impression that people are getting the best out of this situation right now. But I think it
Yeah.
depends how long it will take, you know, if it's only a few weeks, maybe a few months, someone will.
I mean, to be honest, I mean, I'm very sure it will. I don't count on playing regular concerts this year.
Yeah.
Or maybe we can start something in autumn again, but still, until how does, I mean, there's so much going on. And also beyond that, it's not just about, going back to regular like it was before. I think there will be so many changes now in this time, structural changes in the cultural scene, in the business, in the way how people, how music is or art is communicated, how people perceive it,
So
also
what
in
are
the
your
way.
thoughts in this sense? I mean, what do you? Because I'm also thinking, you know, I made a new project just, you know, came on stage a month ago, but you know, the other like side of the, I don't know, of this thing will come out in a few months, and it will be a completely different world, I feel. And
Absolutely.
so I'm. What are your thoughts about, like, how will people will react to art, to, I don't know, to this music you're playing in a few months when everything is so, I don't know, fresh from the oven?
I have no idea. I mean, of course, there will be a challenge. I mean, what I really like is the situation that now, since we have this long break, the cards are mixed, completely new. Like how to say, the establishment is not there anymore. Like maybe there could be complete new platforms how to communicate music. Maybe there will be a lot of space for creative new ideas. All these home concerts, all this streaming. I think there may be, I mean, even right now, everybody's trying and nobody really knows. And but I think there will be new forms of music communication coming out of this whole situation. So it's very interesting to watch that. And then, of course, I mean, also in the end, somebody has to pay for all that shit. Like, I mean, there's so much money lost now, and government is supporting. I mean, this money will be missing, and there will be a big discussion in a couple of months, how, what society wants to afford. Also this all this political dimension, like of a minimum fee for everybody, or like more social aspect, these kind of. So there will be a big discussion, and I think also the art scene and the music scene, we have to we have to redefine our position in the society. If society, maybe if the government is spending 5 billions and now to support all these companies and all these people who need it, we have to cut some things. Maybe the support for culture will be either cut it or reorganized completely. So that will be a very interesting project to, like, for the society also to find out, hey, what is,
Yeah, definitely.
we think about these structures. Can we afford big opera houses, or do we want to afford small clubs, or what is. I
Yeah,
think this whole process will be restarted from kind of like from scratch, and that will be a very interesting and challenging time.
yeah, I agree. Hmm.
But I'm curious. I mean, I really have to say, there are very few moments when, I mean, I'm not really, right now I'm not scared about the situation. I mean, of course, there's some danger, some political danger. Of course, sooner or later, there will be some assholes from the right side coming and trying to make advantage out of it, these kind of things. That this is something with what I'm scared, but I'm really fascinated. I have to say I'm fascinated, and it's a very extremely interesting situation that so many things on the same time are mixed, new, completely from scratch.
Do you read a lot of news? You get a lot of information coming in, like from social media and stuff, and also.
Not from social media, but I'm following some podcasts of scientists. I think this is super important. I mean, you should really like get rid of all this. I mean, fake news is a dangerous word these days, but you should really stick to facts.
And
You
what is
should.
the picture that you're getting from the situation, like you yourself, from what you hear and what you read?
I mean, it depends to every country, I mean, the situation it has so many layers, like I think in Germany, I'm very impressed in a positive side how clear and structured politicians, scientists, and media is doing their job. I have the information. I have the feeling we are really informed. We really get the facts, and we don't get the facts from the politicians. We get the facts from the scientists, and this is something that's actually cool.
Mhm.
It would be nice if that could stay for some other issues like climate change and stuff like
Yeah,
that as well.
yeah,
I don't need a politician. I don't need some crazy media, to inform me, or some social media bubble. I would love to get the information from the scientists, and I would love the politicians to follow the scientists.
mhm,
That's something what I find really interesting. But that works in Germany, there, and it's also very interesting to see how it works in other countries. How these strange leaders around the world, these kind of like dictator kind of guys, how they are dealing with that situation. And there's a lot of danger, of course, because they can of course they can use their power to, to to increase their power or situation. But on the other hand side, maybe that could be also a situation to
yeah,
maybe they will be swiped away by just pure facts and numbers.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm following the news a lot, but rather like in podcasts of scientists
Mhm.
and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm doing my daily bike ride at most of the time at nighttime. I go out on my bike like for one and a half,
really in the
2 hours.
cold.
Yeah, but I have good clothes, and it's really nice at nighttime. It's great because the streets are empty, and it's a very nice. And then I listen to all these kind of podcasts, and
How much do you ride?
I mean it's like 1.5, 2 hours, something like that.
Oh, really?
I don't. Yeah, I have a racing bike, but I don't go too fast, But I like to.
Just around the city, or just in the streets, or in parks, or in nature? You go like outside?
I mean, most of the times I live in Friedrichshain, so I go to like Schönefeld area, circle the airport or something, and come back
In
or
the
something.
nighttime, interesting. Sounds a little bit
It's great. It's an amazing vibe. I
really.
really, I mean, this, yeah, it's really
Mhm.
inspiring.
Hmm. Does your boy play as well? He plays music?
Yeah, that's actually quite great. We started a house band last week. Like my boy had birthday just 2-3 weeks ago, and he
Then,
got
right?
it, and he got an electric bass. He had 10 years. He got an electric bass, and now, since we do homeschooling, we started a band, and it's amazing. They were practicing 2 times a day.
Really? Who's
Yeah,
playing? Who? Him and who?
like my son plays bass, and then we have neighbor kids in our
Ah,
house.
okay,
Like,
okay,
yeah, we are 3 families, and we kind of share the homeschooling. We
okay.
have to reconsider the situation this week because it was a little bit. We have some patchwork family action going on. So how to say, our group is a little bit too big, so we might have to skip this band thing. But
Mhm.
it's great to make music. It's great to make music with my son, and also this. I like this homeschooling.
Actually, we too. We enjoy it. It's really relaxed, and I fantasized about it a long time. I thought about going somewhere and do some homeschooling. It was always like, and this time, it's a force of nature, and I think they learn in one day here what they learn in 2 months in school. Really, we teach
I,
them so much, and reading and writing, but in a fun way, and
yeah,
really nice.
yeah, and they come up with so nice ideas. For example, my son, he's writing letters to his friend, you
Mm.
know, and then he delivers them by bike and puts it in a mailbox. And this is super great. Or like tonight we start, like we want to do, like every couple of days we want to have a video conference call with his buddies from school.
Mhm.
These little ideas, but it's super nice to see it.
And do you feel like that the whole situation is influencing the way you write or compose? Do you give any thoughts to like what you do right now in relation to the situation, or you just do your abstract music or whatever? And
No, I mean my music always was quite emotional, you know. I'm not this kind of like jazz musician, you know. Like I write songs which are very emotional and
And
you can
melodic, yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, so of course, you know, there's a lot going on, and of course you can hear it in the music. But on the other hand side, also, how to say, since I'm so much at home, you know, I'm not influenced by other people too much, you know, much less than before. So it's even more, you know, concentrated on myself and my own. You know, I don't care about the style or what other people think or whatever. You know, I really like I produce what is in my heart and in my head, and it's interesting, and it's really great and inspiring to do that on for such a long moment, you know, like really like for being able to be in the studio for half a year. You know, before it was always my life was mainly traveling. You know, I played a concert like 3 4 concerts per week, two of them abroad in average, you know, so I was basically in the
In
plane or
every
on the
time of
way to
the
the
year,
airport. Hmm?
every time of the year, you travel all the time, 2 3 times a week to.
I mean, there's high seasons and low seasons, you know, but you know, in high seasons it's even more. You know, sometimes I'm you know away for 2 weeks or something, you know, and then there are other times after Christmas I'm at home for 2 weeks. But most of the time, at least once or twice per week, I travel somewhere. You
Wow.
know, so the traveling is it's
Wow.
nice and inspiring, but it's also you know like you don't really have a daily routine.
Yeah.
The daily routine is to wake up in some hotel and go to the airport and fly somewhere. But now having this daily routine of, you know, composing a song in the evening, that's interesting.
Wow, it's such a change for a guy like you. For me, it's pretty much the same. I write most of the time, and then I have a project once in a very long time. I direct something once a year or once in 2 years, maybe, since we moved here. So it's much more. And most of the time, I'm just sitting at home, skyping with other people I'm collaborating with, and then so it's pretty much nothing changed really in my daily
Yeah.
routine.
For me, it's quite extreme, and I have to admit, you know, like I'm very curious, you know, I like new things, of course, you know, and I'm very impatient, you know, so traveling is always, you know, it's always great if there's some input from outside.
Yeah,
So you don't really have to sit down and how to say manage to spend time only with yourself. Because there's always input, you know, you're always on stage and you meet people,
yeah,
and it's so much coming from outside, so it's a huge change right now. But on the other hand side, I was needing this change anyway, you know. I felt it the last years, you know, I should slow down the life, I should have breaks, I should concentrate on myself,
mm,
you know, and take a full stop and reevaluate what I do and concentrate on few things. And now it's this kind of situation, and like a forced sabbatical.
mm. So as a project, what you suggested for Friend, it's just finishing the solo album you were working on, and the
I'm,
compositions
I'm
for the orchestral.
Yeah, I'm still. I mean, how to say? There will be so much output in,
Yeah,
this month.
yeah,
You know, on the one hand side, of course, I will finish a couple of solo songs, and of course, I will compose with for orchestra. There's one. I have one idea for a video production of one of these songs, which is a little bit related to the Corona situation. It's a bit difficult. So you know, it's too early to talk about it. I'm still evaluating if it's possible at all. But I think, you know, I would like to do that.
okay,
And it also needs a little bit of a budget, which, you know, frame would allow me now. So I'm right. I was right in the moment to
yeah,
investigate a little bit how to do it. But I have actually quite. I like the idea a lot, and I have to see if it's realistic to
hmm,
do it. And
okay,
so this will be kind of like I want to make a morph from a solo piece to a classical piece, and I had this in my head for quite a long time, and
mhm,
now also found a certain twist which I have to check out if it's possible to do it.
okay. Hmm. Okay, would be interesting to talk to you next week. I mean, to see how without, regardless of frame, I was thinking it would be interesting, you know, to, I don't know, yeah, to have like a weekly or monthly or I don't know what, like meetings with artists or people in general to see how they, you know,
With pleasure.
develop during this.
I mean, it was like, you know, when I was in your house, I so much would have loved, you know, to bring my girlfriend. She's an actress, you know, she's interested in, you know, also artists, singer, songwriter, actress. So to introduce you, and I would have loved, you know, to hang and have a wine and
Yeah,
talk, and you know, like what we did in the past, you know, and it was, you know, it's so inspiring people. It you know, that's a pity, you know, that we can't just meet 5, 6, 10 people in one room and
yeah,
and talk and hang. That we have to do it through the phone. On the other hand side, we have much more time for these things right now.
yeah.
I mean, like
Now
before
that we
Corona,
can't do it, we have time for it.
yeah, before I wouldn't have the time like for, you know, 1 hour, you
Yeah,
know, like relaxed and really brainstorm and a deep conversation.
yeah,
It's really nice. I'm very happy to that we met. It's
yeah.
very,
Me too.
it's a
I'm
very,
very happy to meet you. And
very
sure, we'll do this wine meeting after everything is a little bit calmer. But okay, let's talk next week. We'll see where we stand.
with pleasure.
Great.
Great.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. Have a great day.
See you next week.
Say hello to everybody.
I will.
Bye.
Bye.